All right, let's get a little upper body day. This was on, I believe, the 1st of March. I'm trying to play catch up here with all my training sessions. Yeah, I warmed up with a little bit of this pull down, which I think is, again, what I've talked about is I start to feel like everything is going to feel better if I start with a higher pull. It's not necessarily an overhead because I don't have a great pulley setup, but it's getting a great stretch in the lats. And I'm starting off this workout with an overhead press. And so that's going to really get things gelling. And again, I've talked about this before. Antagonistic training is what feels best for me. And I know some people say, well, if you work hard on bar back, then you don't have a max effort on overhead. I don't find that to be true. If it's true for you, then you should find something that works a little bit better. That should be the be all end all of it. I've heard a lot of stuff lately about order of exercises. And while there might be some truths that exist for you and the way that you like to train, I also think that you have to figure out what works best for you overall. So, again, yeah, just adding on some weight here, just working my way up. If you notice, my shirt says down bad crying at the gym. Yeah, my wife, who knows I'm a Taylor Swift fan, got me that shirt. I was very pleased with it when she got it for me. Um, Going for the big stretch. I've been trying to focus on slowing down the eccentric, but sometimes you forget. But it is something that I'm working on and on something that I'm hopefully going to get better at as we get deeper into this process of me kicking my fat ass back into shape. And again, just working through these. I would count this next set probably as my first working set as I'm just getting going. Oh, yeah, that I had imagined was going to happen. I didn't cut myself, there's no blood. And so we shake it off and we move on to the next set. I will be more careful next time. That was nearly disastrous, though. So, anyway, what I would consider my first working set here, just really trying to feel my way through it. And you can tell I focus a little bit more on slowing down the eccentric. I was feeling good too this day. It's great when you start off a workout and you do feel good. Not every workout happens like that, but this was a day where that did happen. And while this was not a day where I was able to do everything that I would do in the way where I break it up into two workouts, because life happens, everyone. Just because we can't do our preference doesn't mean we have to stop. But yeah, so I was just trying to work my way through it and figure out everything that I could do and had to do to get everything done. I think I had a lot of interviews to do for the Sharks and work to do for the Earthquakes because I had a broadcast the next day, as well as a Sharks game coming up. You can tell I pull it back to make sure it's even in there. Um, and just again, keep on going with this overhead work. I'm going with a more close grip, as you can see, for these warm ups because you get a better stretch in the lats. If you're out here or out here versus in here, that to me feels like it gets a better stretch on the lat. But again, I will say what works best for you. And I am feeling pretty good slowing down that eccentric. And what I also find is that if you drive your elbows low, you can feel your lats not quite cramp, but you can feel them more actively working. And that's again something that I'm really working on currently is that mind muscle connection. I don't think it's the only thing you should be focusing on. And sometimes you do want to just move some weight. But yeah, this was feeling pretty good and really just trying to go through all those reps and make sure that I was feeling it where I wanted to be feeling it. Now, there is a little bit of a thing going on right now where there's a little bit of an overcomplication with people on, how to move your shoulders and how to retract your scapula and change your range of motion to focus on one muscle. I don't consider myself a bodybuilder per se. If you are a bodybuilder, then maybe, some of the advice that Ryan Humiston, I don't know. And I love his content, by the way. I just think that if you are a bodybuilder, then yes, focus on specific function and form for maybe how you want to work on muscles that you're specifically targeting that you need to bring up. But I think for a lot of us, we want to justify how we are eating. We want to, burn calories before we, go out with some friends and have some brews and have some French fries. And we want to make sure we feel good. Warming up here on overhead press and sometimes to really accentuate the form. I will shoot my head through the gap on the lower reps. As a cue I learned in CrossFit. I don't know if it works for everybody, but I'm going to say it. If it works for you, you should do it. I go all the way down, touching my sternum, and I work out in ways that people might say, Ted, that's junk volume. Uh, I don't believe in that. I believe in warming up your joints. And I also think that if there is a little pre fatigue from maybe the max weight that you're going to, it might help ensure that you don't have an injury. And again, I lift so that I can continue to lift. I know I am not going to stage, on stage and competing in a bodybuilding show or a powerlifting show. I'm just doing this again for vanity, like I always point out, and just to continue to be able to do so because it makes me feel so damn good. Now, that to me is my priority in lifting, feeling good, making sure that week after week, day after day, hour after hour, I feel good. And I find that when I do these workouts, I feel good. And that, again, is my main priority. So, again, working up to 135. And again, my pressing stuff goes the most. So, just working on some heavy doubles. I think I got up to 165, 175 in this workout, something like that. I'm a 155 right now, and I do put on some wrist wraps because I can feel it a little bit in my wrists. For those of you saying that's cheating, I don't know, man. If your joints hurt, your joints hurt. You should take care of them. I do some wrist mobility. I haven't done a full video on all of the mobility stuff that I do. I will at some point. But also, you want to be able to lift. You don't want to spend all your time working on mobility. You want to go in and be a meathead and work out. And so here I'm on 155 and just, trying to feel. Did a single, but it went pretty smoothly. And yeah, I can't remember. We'll find out in a second here. Yeah, so I'm doing 165. And, if you're doing a push press, you can do a lot more. These are strict. And again, felt good. Trying to really focus on feeling my shoulders. I said that was a good heavy single. So I am going to, I believe, calculated around 65% of there or 60% somewhere in there. And that was going to be 105 pounds. And then now I will work on my hypertrophy stuff. So I went up to a heavy single. I could have done more, but now I will bang it out and really work on my shoulders to feel it in the deltoids. And especially for me, I feel it in the entire delt, especially later in the set. I feel like it goes from the anterior to the side to the rear delt. And I think that is something that people discount is that your shoulder, while when you're fresh and you're bringing your shoulders overhead, that movement, for me, I feel that across all three heads of my shoulders. And that's very important for me because some people say, oh, you don't get anything but anterior delts, which also work in bench and, you know, other pressing movements. I don't believe that. I think you hit all heads of your shoulders when you're doing this. And again, just to get a little bit of a cue on all the shoulders, you can see I start putting my head through the gap. And yeah, I'm getting towards the end here. Once I do that first set to failure, I got to struggle through that next one, put it back. I try to go to failure on these hypertrophy reps. You might say, well, if you had a spotter, you could do another, but I don't have a spotter. I work out by myself in my gym or in my garage gym. So I do the best I can. And I think that it allows me to feel something in the sense of stimulates, not annihilates. And if you want to go to the RPE, then you're probably pretty close, to what you're going to be able to do. I'm assuming here that I drop it down for a drop set. And just by taking 10 pounds off, might be able to get a couple more reps. And it's amazing to me how just taking a small amount of the weight off, less than 10%, and then this will allow you to do just that much more, just a few more reps to get a little bit more. And I feel that little bit more, if it's going to be your last set, get it out. Make sure you can do everything you can do. So yeah, on rack, I think I get 3 more as my shoulders were already feeling pretty burnt at that point, but you can get a little bit more. And just grinding it out. Make my, you'll see it better later, but I make my cotton and mousetrap faces. Some T-bar rows here for you. On these, I know you can do that bent over where you get up on a step and really accentuate the arch. I don't like that. I think if you just go to where your lats will stretch to in this position, they feel pretty good. If you have a chest supported thing, yeah, you can get a little bit more of the stretch. But I also like just moving some weight on these. Felt pretty good. And again, I think that when you use a little bit less weight, you can focus on a movement like this where you want to feel it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I feel this overall in my entirety of my back. And again, that's the point. I could move more weight. You're correct. But I don't think that's always the best thing to do. So I get 6 here, and then I'm feeling a little bit gassed, give it a little bit of a rest pause. And for these, I can usually bang out a couple more. I did 2 more, but yeah, my back at this point was feeling pretty pumped and pretty good. Oh, here's an important thing, a side view of how I clean the dumbbells and don't do that stupid press up off the knee. Learn how to do that. It will make every aspect of your overhead pressing workouts better. You don't need those hooks. Clean it. Just work on moving your traps up, finding momentum up to the top. I think it's the best way to do it. Your mileage may vary, but I see people having trouble and they talk about they can't clean it up and they get cut and they're going to hurt themselves. Like, guys, just clean the dumbbells. And it also builds muscle. You'll have better control over your traps. You'll be better at stronger if you work on cleans. Cleans are important. Watch, you can do it again. You can see me. I get a little bit of hip dip and I clean them. It's not a bicep curl. It's just a clean. And again, I go for super deep on these all the way down, touching my deltoid, touching almost the inner part of my deltoid in here. I really want to feel that stretch, and I do so. And this is my, again, I think I just did 2 sets here, which has been working really well. And then I'll drop it down for a drop set, I believe. And yeah, I started off with the 60s, went to the 50s, went to the 40s, and I'll bang out some more reps. And again, you'll get one more look at a clean. Oh, so much better. Now on incline, which you'll see me do, because this was an overhead to incline day, just like the previous day was a flat bench to an overhead day, and I rotate that way. It's just what works well for me. But yeah, got out a couple more reps. That's the important thing for me. Now I go over and I'm going to do some pull-ups. And I'm going to tell you about my method of getting back good at pull-ups. Set up an interval timer, 10 minutes. Do 1. Okay, now wait that full minute. 30 seconds work, 30 seconds pause. Now do 2 pull-ups. Now wait the rest of that interval period and 30 seconds rest. Then do 3. It has a ding, which helps. So then I do 3 pull-ups. And you can tell I'm getting a full hang. I'm trying to bring my sternum to the bar. And then when you feel your form start to break down, that's where you restart. And I got 3 really good ones here, but I could tell if I went for a 4th, it was not going to be as good. You can muscle it out, but it's not worth it. So I did 3, and then I started over with 1. And I can give you a view from behind as well. One, did that first rep. I've started off. You give yourself a chance to recover, but as you get better at this, essentially what you're doing is you're working up your volume slowly while also decreasing the rest. And the muscle has to respond or die, as Kramer would say. But no, I think that this is a really good way for people to do it. You shorten the rest and you increase the volume. Now I think I get back up to 3 here, and then I'll go back up to 1 after this. So over the course of 10 minutes, you're getting a decent amount of pull-ups in. Like 1, 2, 3 is 6, plus another 3 is 9, plus 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 3 is 13, and just working my way through it. And again, this is what works for me. And I've done this before. You can do it with other exercises as well. I just find that for pull-ups specifically, especially because it's a harder body weight motion, there's a conditioning aspect. Also, get yourself tight, pull your legs behind, depress your scapula before you get up. The other thing, if you want to get good at pull-ups, work on your abs. I find that most people who have trouble with pull-ups, or when I was having trouble with my pull-ups, as soon as I did a lot of ab wheel work and some hanging leg raises, my pull-ups got a lot better. They got a lot better in a real hurry. And that made everything so much easier because just bracing your core like any other exercise helps. All right, now you're going to get a view of me doing my incline hypertrophy work, going all the way into the corners of my elbows. And I really try and feel it deeply and really try and, exaggerate that stretch at the bottom. And there's my caught in the mousetrap face. Love that. And I'll try and really, even at the bottom, just drift a little bit wider and you can, kind of pull yourself down in a row, which is what I've talked about before. Really contract your back muscles to use those as a brake to allow the emphasis to go on your chest. And again, this felt really good. Yeah, caught in a rat trap, caught in a mouse trap. That's that face. And then I'll get to my next set. And I believe I did a drop set for these. I tried to do the knee thing here just to show you how much I hate it. It didn't feel good. It's also for me, like I said, I don't have the best hips in the world. Put my legs at a weird angle or put my hip flexor at a weird angle. So you're all aware that I wear Hanes underwear now. Hanes, if you're looking for a sponsor, I'm your guy. And again, just working all the way through it, getting a big stretch, pushing all the way to the top. And I think I did a drop on these. I can't remember specifically. It's been a couple days. Looks like I did. So bang out a few more reps. Really feel that stretch. Feel where you intend to work it out. That's another thing. Another thing about pausing at the bottom a little bit, the stretch reflex goes a long way. But if you wait a little bit longer, that stretch reflex, in my opinion, goes away. And then you really have to feel how to use that muscle to bring the weight up overall. Now, since I've done those main back movers and chest movers and overhead, I'm going into my arm work. I was short on time, so I was doing it all as one workout. So for biceps, I just did a big drop set. And I also feel that after doing pull-ups, which are a little bit stressful on the joints, that I don't need to do a lot of arm work because I feel arm stimulation doing the pull-ups. And no, not more than the back, but I definitely get a good pump and I feel like there's work there, which there should be. It's a multi-joint compound exercise. Um, and so start here, just work my way through some quality reps and still trying to focus on the eccentric, although I was a little bit gassed at that end. But then I'm going to drop down 10 pounds on each and then bang out some more reps. And just doing one big, I don't know if you want to call this a giant drop set or something to that extent, just working out those reps. I think I got like 32 overall. And again, afterwards, I had a great pump. My arms were sore the next day, but now 2 days later, they're not sore. Today's Monday. I guess this was Friday, yeah, because I didn't get a chance to, maybe this is Saturday. Sorry. I had a busy weekend. Kids flag football, an Earthquakes game, a Sharks game, just gets busy sometimes. So yeah, getting through these. And then drop it down one more time. And again, I've told you I hate training arms because that burn is just something I am not a fan of. It's not very comfortable. But the last drop here. And when your arms are tired, lightweight starts to feel heavy pretty quickly. These first few reps, I'm like, yeah, all right, I got this. No problem. This is too light. Why did I even drop? And then quickly, it starts to feel very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. And I can tell, like, this is not going to feel great in a few reps. So again, just continuing to rep it out, trying to focus on that eccentric on the way down. Not well enough here, might I add. And this is the other thing that I've noticed since I've been videotaping myself training. I used to when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, this is going to be a heavy squat. But when you're doing like your entire sets, you start to see little things that you don't do very well, and you start to feel like, oh, okay, here are the improvements I need to make. Here are the things I need to focus on. Just like a golfer would videotape their swing, just like I know that when I used to do basketball camp back in the 90s, they would have us videotape our shot, just a free throw. So you become aware of the little things that you're doing. I'm more aware of now. And it's not just because I like to look at myself when I work out. I really don't. I often look at myself, I'm like, God, you need to lose weight, get a tan. But again, I am aware of things that I'm doing. These, I know you're thinking, Ted, that's not a lot of weights. No, it's not. But the way that my pulley is set up, it's kind of hard. It's not a great setup for this. It'll pull you backwards. And so I'm trying to find that sweet spot where I can focus on my triceps, but not the pull in the wrong direction. And see, I'm kind of trying to lean forward and find my angle. On the second set, when I put a little weight on there, I felt a little bit more emphasis in my triceps to where I would not get pulled and kind of lose my balance. So on this next set, I think I had another 10 pounds. I was trying to find a way to have the grips a little set up where I could get the different, the little strap things out of my hand because I don't like ropes. I'm not a big fan. I know people like them. I'm not. These, I like keeping my hands together, honestly. So I didn't like how that felt for the first couple reps. So I'm just going to switch, hold these, and let these other things dangle out there in my face. Hate having things dangle in my face. But yeah, I think you'll see I let my elbows retract a little bit more in these reps. And I was leaning forward a little bit more, which allowed me to feel the stretch in my triceps. I normally would do some pullover skull crusher hybrids that I like to do. I've had a little bit of a strained ab thing going on, so that's why I haven't been doing those as much lately. Just right where my ab meets um, my rib, I guess. Not quite the intercostal, but just start. And then for forearms, like I said, I was tight on time, just going through all of these. I hate these twist things. When I got it, I was like, oh yeah, bigger grip. That'll be great. It probably is, but I hate myself every time I use it. And it's Viking, which I found their brand on Amazon. I have some knee sleeves of theirs. I have some elbow sleeves of theirs, and I have this forearm twist thing, whatever these are called. And I love it. It's great. They make great equipment. Even when I bought stuff from them before, they even sent me a handwritten note that said, Ted, thanks for getting our product. I will tell you what, that stuff to me matters. I know it's like the least amount of effort they can do, but it does, just to be like, hey, we're acknowledging and thanking you for your purchase. I know this is not a competitor in the same sense that they're going against Rogue or Elite FTS or any of the other big brands, Titan or Rep Fitness. And I have all these brands, by the way, but just a little note to say, hey, thank you for purchasing our product. I was like, oh, that's sweet. That makes me feel good about buying from them in the future. I don't know if I've bought anything from them since, but I do have 2 pairs of knee sleeves, a pair of elbow sleeves, and this wrist roller thing. And yeah, I hate the faces I make during these because it's just absolute pain. If you want to get more dangle, you can stand on a box or stand on your bench. You can also just try to hold your arms up a little bit higher. You also feel it in your shoulders. Yeah, and this, like, screw it, I'm done. So this was the end of my workouts, and I'll switch. But yeah, again, I was pushed on time, which is a part of the reality of being an adult. You have to figure a little dance there at the end. It's part of the reality of being an adult. No, I'm not saying that to be like, oh, you 18-year-olds have all the free time in the world. No, just when you have a career, when you have a wife, when you have a family, when you have these things going on, you won't have every day be the absolute perfect structure for your training. So you have to make it work. And that means even when you are prioritizing, that you have to figure it out. Because yes, the answer is always get up earlier and go to bed earlier. Well, if I have an earthquakes broadcast that starts at 5:30, which really means that I'm doing prep work for that all day, which means that I am, just essentially focusing on that all day, as well as a Sharks game, which I had to do a pregame show. A lot of my time was accounted for. And you're also trying to be a father, make breakfast for the kids, try and spend some time. You might not have the time that you want for your workouts. For instance, today I'm recording this on Monday morning. I got up at 4:30 today. I had coffee. I have to be on a recording at 10:30 for a pregame show, and then for the Sharks Audio Network, and then I have to leave not shortly thereafter because I have NBC pre and post for Sharks coverage on TV, which means that if we're on at 4, I like to be there by about 2:30. So my time to work out today is going to be a little bit crunched. I was all, ready to do everything this morning. So, I got that early morning cardio in, which I'm trying to add more of. And I did take some video. You'll be able to see that soon. But I was able to get that in and then eat breakfast, take my kids to school, come home. Now working on this. And then because I don't have an interview till 10:30, I believe, I'm going to get a workout in before that interview. And if something comes up, then I'll just have to miss it. And I know you should be more focused on your training. I'm sorry. You have to figure out a work, life, and physical activity balance. And the ability to provide for my family, to put food on the table, that comes, I won't say before fitness, but I did enough to where I already got in one high intensity cardio conditioning workout this morning. If that's all I can get in today, then that's all I can get in today. I, again, tried to get something and I'll try to get more, but that's just the reality of what it's like being um, grown up. And I'm very lucky because a lot of my work is from home. When I'm not at games, I do stuff from home. So that allows me to fit in break time. And that's a privilege to me. And I'm not denying that at all. The fact that I can, on my quote unquote break time, go and work out, even if it's just doing, some calf raises, I'm really lucky in that regard. I don't overlook it. I know that some people would love to have that position, but you just have to figure out what's going to work for you and how you're going to make it work in your world. And this is how I get it done. Some days you've got to compress things. All right, that wraps it up. If you saw my abandoned leg training, I came back on Sunday with a more structured leg day that was hinge dominant, and I switched it up to have an Eddie Cohn frog style deadlift because that helps me in doing that, implementing some ideas of the conjugate to where you rotate exercises. And so that's my next video. So please watch that as well and enjoy and subscribe. I hope you're enjoying this content. I'm trying to do more. I also want to do some reviews of the equipment that I have. Like I have the Elite FTS American Camber Bar. I have the Titan Safety Squat Bar. I have Ludus Imperium sandbags. And I just got a 200 and a 250 pound bag because I like to torture myself. What else do I have? I have the Rogue GHD. I have the Rogue Echo bike. I have the Dog Sled 1.2. I also just have an Elite FTS drag sled because my kids wanted to do sled stuff and they couldn't move the bigger sled because we go to parking lots and stuff and it's hard to move it. So I've got some stuff that I'll do some reviews on. I've got the Titan rackable curl bar. I've got a trap bar. I've got lots of stuff that I'd like to review for you as well, as I talked about how I've built my home gym over the years, which just literally started, I want to say back in 2015, I first purchased a 50-pound dumbbell, and then I purchased two 24-kilogram kettlebells, which I still have. I also had an ab wheel, and I think that was it. I also had a loadable kettlebell, which was like a plate loading kettlebell thing, which was fine at the start, but then I realized it wasn't at all. It was not the range of motion that I wanted. You had to be a little bit different with it, especially if you put 35 and 45-pound plates on it. And I didn't fall out of love with it. I just said, you know what, this is not going to be the right piece for me. I believe I sold that and used that money from a Play It Again sports franchise to get a cap hex bar, which now has its limitations that I really enjoy, and some really things about it that I also really, really like. So I'll get into all those. But again, like and subscribe. Be good, people.